Welcome to Peaceful Prosperity. It is such an honor and pleasure to be here with today's client spotlight interview with the one and only Junior Lopez. Junior is a freaking rock star. Junior is somebody who has really done some inspiring and beautiful things that you may have seen with his animation studio and
Yes, yes.
does incredible work as a business owner, as a leader, and as an entrepreneur in that field. And I'm super stoked to have you come here and share with us what your experience has been of the work that we've done together, like actually
Hmm.
over a number of years now.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
before we really get started, share can you share with us a little bit about yourself? Like, how would you describe, yourself, what you do, what you're doing right now?
Right, right. So yeah, I've been working with Oliver for like a number of years, maybe 4 to 5, well, maybe 4 years, I think, possibly around 4 years. And so I've been doing motion graphics and animation stuff as freelance before I met Oliver, and it was just just a business me and one other person. Um, that's what we did. We did animation, and it was just the two of us. And we've always just kind of been working for ourselves, just paying ourselves. And it was just the two of us in the small office in Oakville and in Brampton before this. And we always thought about, growing and expanding, but it was never really, we never really got to it because it's just the day to day, working behind the desk, behind the computer. Takes up all your time. And but I think the entrepreneurial part was just always part of me as far as uh, not really wanting to report to a job. I don't even think I noticed it back then. It was just more of a thing that we just kind of gravitated to. I think like back in the day we were DJing and stuff, and so we wanted to throw our own parties, and instead of getting high, we would just throw our own parties, DJ at our own parties, make our own flyers, and it was pretty good back then on a smaller scale, obviously, but just being able to create something and make your own money was uh something that was just like it suited me better. It just felt normal. And so now, yeah, and fast forward, just doing all those flyers, doing all those things that we want to do for ourselves, I started getting paid for doing these things for other people. And then started off small, like doing flyers here and there, until certain companies, you do certain things, companies here that you reach out to certain people, and then um, then there's certain people that actually offer you a bit more money, and then you start to realize that, hey, yeah, I can actually make money off this. So and then and then you just I kind of reached out. It was more of a thing I enjoyed, like animation, design, and all that. It was just something I just did, which came natural. And then, like I said, I spoke to a friend of mine, he who was doing the stuff that I wanted to do, and he said, here, why don't you come try and work with me, do a little bit of animation for me, and let's just try it. And then from that conversation, that's when I said that we kind of ran into some real money. It was more like, it was like, like $7,000 for like, a five, 1 2 minute animation. And from there, I was just like, oh, wow, you can really make something of this. And then from there, just me and my cousin went forward with there and just started working for other companies and getting paid that similar amount. But as an animator and a freelancer, I realized after many years that you can only take on as much as you can handle. And and we did that for a long time, maybe 10, 12 years. It was just freelance and taking on what we could and reaching our limits, and getting stressed out, staying up late, you know what I mean, and trying to just basically reaching the limit of what a freelancer could do. And yeah, but as a freelancer, and there's a limit that you can't do any further than that. So it was time to kind of think, maybe how can we grow and expand more. So yeah, so we've just been doing animation, motion graphics for many different television, film production companies, and now working with Oliver, I'm trying to make the shift from doing all the grind, hard work, pushing the buttons, to more shifting more to managing it and running the business which enables us to expand more and not have a limit. So that's the plan right now, and that it's going well, and it's growing. It's not easy, but you need direction, and you might think, sometimes I might think I know a lot of things, but there's always more stuff that can improve, and always, bigger things that we can, bigger goals to hit. So here we are now, just trying to grow this thing, and seeing, also just seeing the possibilities, what it could be. And there's so much more that, that I'm seeing now that we're not even close to getting there yet. But, we're on the path, and I think that's the good thing, trusting the process, and just keeping going, because it's not like I said, the limits have opened up, and it seems like I haven't even seen the limit now, like with all the different things we were trying to do. So
wow,
I think
I think so. So that is so cool. I think it is so inspiring and refreshing, your process, right? The journey that you've been on, especially because there are several entrepreneurs, I remember there's this beautiful quote by this actress and writer director named Britt Marling, and she said, nowadays, if you're an artist, you have to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, damn right. She said that like maybe 12 years. I saw that quote like 12 years ago, or heard it in an interview. And I think, there is that stigma. Like my wife, Janet, she's an artist, and she went to school, and she has fine art, and she has an Etsy shop, and she's like making really great headway in that space. But I think there's this myth that of the broken, the broke and poor struggling artists. And I think it's something that we really need to, it's a mindset shift to be like, you know what, if it brings me joy and it's creative, and I feel a sense of satisfaction with the end result, with the end product, someone else might like it, someone else might value it, and in fact, maybe I can create a living, and maybe even get to the point where I'm actually building a business, building a team. And so I really love that the way that you progressed was, because I think there's definitely an artistic spirit and entrepreneurial spirit to you, and I think that might be a common thing as well with a lot of the clients that I work with, is that there's that you have the heart of it, you're just like, hey, throwing our own parties, like, hey, these parties are great, let's throw our own parties, like, just for fun. It's like, oh wait, people are paying us, we're breaking even, oh, we're making money, oh, like I'm making promotional materials, flyers, and then it just leads to like someone else saying, hey, can you do our flyers? And you're like, wait, I could make money doing that. And then you're just like, hey, this is real money now. It's like, what if we focus on this and start to build that? And then it turns into this beautiful track record, this really cool career. And it's like, I think we undervalue this whole idea of apprenticeship or mentoring, because what I heard in there is like, someone helped guide you along the way, someone who was doing what you wanted to do kind of helped bring you up, and you're like, hey, like, I need a Yoda. I'm I'm Anakin, like I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm Anakin Skywalker, I need an Obi-Wan, I need whatever reference you want to use. But it's just so cool that it was kind of organically, and you just paid attention to the signs, and you just did kind of what was fun, and you wasn't really driven by, I need to make, it doesn't sound like it, that you wanted to just make money. So I commend you for being in that journey.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I mean, it really wasn't about the money. It was just things that came natural, like as far as creating stuff. It's like something like, you would do, hours pass by, you don't even really notice that you're doing certain things, because you, like I said, you like to see the outcome of it. You like I don't know, maybe subconsciously, when people see it and they compliment you on it, it's something that you feel good about, that's another way to express yourself, So that's totally it. It's just, even the mentor you're mentioning, his name was Irvin. He was just the guy that I knew he was using After Effects. He was doing the graphics, for TSN and all this stuff, and television and everything. And I knew him from around the way, and it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, let's try something uncomfortable, and we just message him on Facebook and say, hey, we kind of know each other. Do you mind if I pick your brain and go for a drink and everything? And then from there, it was even like, a few months later where he just called me back and he's like, hey, I have something going on. Do you wanna help me with it? And I was like, hell yeah, I do, because that was the only into the, television film industry. Other than before that, it was a lot more music, a lot more, flyer work, promotional e-cards and all that. But television and film was where the money that I was talking about came from. And it's the exact same work though. It's just for different types of companies. And
it sounds like the other component I think is important for us to highlight, learning from your process, is the value of relationships.
yeah,
Because it sounds like not only was it kind of like a mentoring type of relationship, it was just, hey, I already knew, like I met this guy, I kept in contact with him, he's doing something interesting, so I actually reached out and we went out. We just built that bond together, and not really expecting much or anything maybe, and then all of a sudden an opportunity comes up, and like you're the first person that comes to mind, and then it opens up this doorway of like, this has been your business and your career for over a decade and a half.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
exactly that. I owe it to him, to be honest. I owe it to him just to even just open my eyes to it. Like, I mean, it was he is the link from doing it for small money and just for fun to professional. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't kind of step out my comfort zone and hit him up on Facebook. And it was weird. Like, I've never really hung out with him. I just said, hey, I know you're doing After Effects and all this. Can I go for a beer? And and they're really, people are usually, they want to help. It's kind of like I feel like it's kind of they're honored that someone's asking them to help them. So people, they respond and they, yeah, sure, let's go. And from there, we had a pitcher of beer, and nothing came of it for, like I said, nothing came of it for like maybe 8 months or a year. And then he called me and brought me into a real job. And because after the first beer pitcher, there was nothing. It was just, okay, cool, that's amazing, great, thank you for
just to hang out.
Yeah. But then when something did come up, he did call me. And then when I took that opportunity, and I feel like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go kick ass on this. I'm gonna, work my ass off and show whoever's around in that building that I can do this, right? And that's what happened. Like the opportunity showed itself, and I went in there. He said, come down to the office downtown. And I was like, cool, I'm just working from home, doing small things. And he's like, come downtown, and here's the project. You're gonna get paid this much. I think it was like $1,000 or something. It was small, but it led to more. And it all started off with that one email, just reaching out to him and saying, hey, do you want to go for a beer?
Yeah. Yes, man.
Yeah.
You never
like
know. I think we need to really pay attention to the signs that are around us of like, hey, this is fun. Maybe I follow what's fun for me. Hey, I'm getting a good response. The market, the universe is showing that they'll pay for this. Maybe I should listen to that. There's different people in my life that are doing something that might open my eyes, not even just open the door, but just like to give you different perspective. Like maybe I should reach out to them, and maybe it would be an honor for them to help. Like I think there's just so much for us to learn in just some of those aspects of your story. So like that's really awesome. How did you end up connecting with me? Like where were you at that time? What would you say motivated you to connect with me?
Right. So so I was I'm married. I was married with 2 kids, and I had recently been separated, and that was maybe a year it was actually maybe like a little bit less than a year after that. And I was just, as usual, running the business and trying to figure out what it is, because being separated is a whole new thing, a whole new different way of life. Still kind of going through it, And so my sister Leslie is friends of yours, and she said, hey, why don't you come check out my friend Oliver's doing a seminar at the Holiday Inn, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm not doing anything else. I'll just go check it out, and maybe, I didn't really have any intentions of. I didn't really have any like. I didn't know what was going to come out of it, really, to be honest. I was just like, okay, I'll just go because it seems like something that I could just maybe hear a few words, because I didn't know where to go. I didn't really know what to do. It was just running the business and just going through the motions, but no real. I guess at that point, I didn't really know. I mean, the goals weren't really. I wasn't as motivated as I was before, because I didn't really know what to do at that point. I guess it's just with my personal life and stuff. So I just went along to the reinvention roadmap with Oliver, and it was like a weekend session. I think it was like was it Friday to Sunday?
It was a Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday. And yeah, I just kind of got some clarity, brief clarity on, what to do. And I got to see what other people are going through. And just a little bit of an insight or a light to think, oh, okay, maybe this is something I could do, because yeah, I mean, I guess being on your own at that time, it's like, I don't really have besides my own, goals and motivation, I don't really have anybody showing me what maybe a direction that I could be going, or, I should be doing, to see some clarity. So yeah, I went there, checked it out, and it was really good. I learned, in a weekend, I learned a lot of just how much, thinking about this stuff can really give you clarity with where you want to go in a couple of days. And so from there, I just kind of thought that, yeah, this is something I would like to do. I would like to speak to someone. I've never really been, into the, therapist and everything. I've never really thought about it. It's never really been on my radar. It's not really a therapist thing, but I just never really thought about having like a coach. And but at that point in time, it just seemed like this is a great idea. Realizing that coaches are there. Like, I mean, basketball coach, everybody needs a coach. Like, like I've been listening to Tony Robbins and all that stuff for a long time and all that. But to have someone talk to you and listen to you and maybe kind of cater to what you're going through, I thought that might be really helpful, even just to talk to. And even if whatever I got out of it, I don't know, but it might as well do something. So that's how I guess we ended up here. And ever since then, it's been a great, like, meeting with Oliver every week. It's kind of like a check-in. And I always walk out, every session, I always walk out with a few gems for the week, or even for a lifetime. And so every time, sometimes there might be weeks where I think, I'm not really sure what I'm due to, but I'm not really sure like what the week's trying to tell me. But every time I finish a session with Oliver, it's just more like I get a little bit of clarity, some more tips on what I should be doing. It kind of realigns me into where I'm trying to go. And that's something that I went over with Oliver about where I want to be, what kind of life I want to live. So I think, just having
Do you
that
remember?
person.
Do you remember? Because I do. I remember the first time that we met one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that your energy was lower.
Yeah. Yes.
Your communication was different than it is now.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah, I remember. I was probably, even I was probably a little bit, like, hungover a bit. You know what I mean? I was, drinking a bit more then too, and it was just, just not. Yeah, the direction wasn't clear.
I feel like you hit a certain point, and it just became a little bit on, kind of on autopilot. Stagnant, maybe stagnant.
Yeah, I think it was stagnant because we were doing, like I said, we were doing the same thing for a while. Obviously, like I said earlier, there's only so much we could have grown. And thinking, I guess, like that, it's like it's either you do something or you're just happy with this. And although it was cool and the money was there, I couldn't just do that forever. I mean, we reached our limit as far as expectations, as far as what else could happen that's exciting. And I guess there were more stuff, but it's just like the manpower, we can only do so much in a day. Yeah. And so at that point I think I was just trying to think of maybe other things, because maybe I was getting a bit bored of it too, because there was that limit. It was just like, okay, this is this is it. Another project comes in, same thing.
Well, I
Same
think
type
that
of work.
creative spirit wasn't getting
Exactly.
nurtured,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Creation is about, you want to grow, you want to explore, you want to innovate. Um,
Yes.
and I think what I'm hearing is just like confirming what I remember of just like things just became like, okay, well, I guess this is it. This is just what this business is.
Yeah,
We just have
exactly.
to
Yeah.
like, we have to max out. This is so much, there's only so much we can take on. What would you say were like the challenges that you came across along the way and overcame? What were the ones
Um,
that stand out for you?
um, during that time, or
Yeah, throughout the last 4 years.
okay, yeah. So I think so yeah, like I said, so I was freelancing for a long time, and growing the business, was always a thought, but I've never really been a manager type. I've never really thought of interviewing anybody. I mean, at one point in time, I would think, no, I'm never gonna interview anybody. Like, I'm not one to interview someone, and you know, and the growth and the thinking of growing your team. It's an idea and it sounds good and it sounds like it wouldn't be too hard, but it takes a lot of communicating and talking to new people and stepping out of your comfort zone, to talk to these new people, and even to ask them to work with you. um, so I think one of the biggest challenges is trying to get closer to people. Like, we now have, we're a group of 7 people now. We run the company. There's 7 of us. It was originally just me and my cousin, and now there's 7 of us, and we're all full time. Everybody plays the roles and everything, but to get to that point, one of the main guys I started with was one of my friends from high school. His name's Jody. So that was an easier transition to get him involved. But hiring the other people, that was all new. Like, talking to new people that weren't part of my life before. Like, it's can I say, it's kind of, I don't know, it's scary just to try to think that, okay, now you got to manage these people, and you have to make sure they're happy. You got to make sure, the money is always coming in. So I think one of the biggest things that I maybe overcome is just the thought that I couldn't really be bigger than 2 people, and having a staff and having people run department, other things. That was one thing I was, a bit of a challenge. I think even the thought of, like, giving up control of everything, because as an entrepreneur, as like, you're basically wearing all hats and doing everything. From at that point, I was doing the creative stuff, doing the accounting, doing the invoicing, doing the marketing, doing the website, basically doing everything, to now where you kind of learn to delegate and also learn to trust people with your brand, and how they can work towards the same thing. But it's not really you doing it now. You have to trust that the people are going to love it as much as you did, because nobody really does love it as much as the person who created it. So I think, yeah, like, letting go and being able to trust, and reaching out to people, and paying people to run a business. That was, I guess, the biggest thing. That's the biggest difference from which was 10-year freelancing, switching over to more of a business. And with all that in place, though, I think now, like what I was speaking about earlier, is that it gives you that chance to grow. The limits are taken off now. Like, the ceiling is gone now. You can grow as big as you want, I think, because you can just scale your team up if you have to.
How
So
do
I
you
think, yeah.
feel the self growth and the self discovery work that we did together help? Like, how do you feel like that helped unlock your ability, your capacity to let go of control, to become more of a leader, to bring people on to support you, to build your business? Like, what do you think? Like, how do you think that contributed?
Yeah, so I think, not only just hearing, not only just keeping me in the direction I want to go, hearing the positive reinforcements that a coach gives on a regular basis. It keeps you in line, and it also reminds you of the possibilities. If you were to stick with this, what the outcome could be. And I think it's the clarity being clear on where you're trying to go and having the tools to get there gives you the confidence to kind of go and do it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's just the hearing, just listening to, what you have to say and the stuff you tell me, it gives me, again, clarity and confidence to move forward. And then not only that, when all these ideas go back and forth, I think of all these other things that, all these other ideas that pop up. And then once you start implementing them, you start to see what happens when you actually do them, like even like from bigger steps to smaller steps to like, even just certain mindsets, they stick with you. And when you start implementing them, you start seeing, how the difference of how you feel. You see what kind of results happen from doing the things that we talk about. And sometimes you just need that little push and reminder of why you're doing this and what could happen. So I think that on a consistent basis led us to where we are now. And it's still growing, it's ongoing, but the results.
Yeah, how would you describe the results? Like, how would you describe the breakthroughs that you've experienced and received and created from from this work?
Yeah, I'll say I'll start with even just the people part first. It's like just growing from me and my cousin in one office to 7 people where we have meetings and all these things, like meetings as far as like offsite meetings, things like that. It's, if I look back to even 3 years ago, it's a whole new thing that I wouldn't have thought that I was here now. But it's great though. Like the people I'm working with, I'm all happy working with them, and it's a whole new ballgame now, because I'm actually, with Oliver and I, one of the things that we work on is trying to kind of get the most out of the work done, but working less hours, being less stressed. As an entrepreneur, that could be stressful. So being able to seeing work get done and working less hours, that was one of the goals, and that's what's happening right now.
Yeah. So how many hours do you think you were working back then, and how many hours?
Back then it was a lot of times burning the midnight oil, staying up late, talking to, since as an entrepreneur, you're talking to everybody, you're talking to all the clients, and there'll be days where you're talking from the whole day, talking to different clients and not even actually doing the work, because you're in meetings all day, and to the point where it's like it's hard to switch gears from talking about this project to this project to this project, and giving it your full attention. It's hard, and it's draining, I think. Like just trying to pay attention to all those different things, all those different clients, it's not fun, and it's just draining, tiring. And so even learning to delegate and to run the company like that was huge, and we're still making improvements even today. But from then to now, it's working late, working 5 days a week
on holidays.
Holidays for sure.
What was that story? On your laptop in the hotel in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What?
Okay, yeah. There was that wasn't even sometimes, that was every time we would go on vacation back then. It'd be I'm up before the kids, working at 4:35 if I have to get something done, so that I can try and spend time with the kids in the daytime. So I'll be up before everybody's up, working laptop, focused in on animating at like 5 a.m, sun's not even up, and then hoping that maybe they'll sleep in longer so that I can have more time to do this. And
wow.
At the beginning though, it's like you do it because I'm making money on doing something
it's just not a good long-term plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on the stage that you're in. So like you were talking about like you're burning the midnight oil, you're even working during holidays, and like What about now?
Yeah, so nowadays, with the team of 7 people in place, with trying to make a note of what needs to be done, what needs to be taken care of, so and making sure all those bases are covered. I'm working really now, like more recently, maybe I don't know. I think I could be maybe wrong. Maybe 5 to 6 hours a week. I think on actual animation stuff, like and the other
So
stuff like
before it
more.
was all the client delivery of the
Yeah,
animation, maybe what, 60 hours or more? Would you
yeah,
say more than that? 80?
maybe more than that, because I would be working into the night.
Yeah.
I had no problem with that before,
Hmm.
but now I now realize I don't want to do that.
So
Yeah,
that
I'd
thing
be
that was
working.
the thing that was client delivery animation majority of your time, like
Yeah,
it's upwards of 60, 70, 80 hours
yeah,
a week
for
back then.
sure. Yeah.
And now that particular part of the business is down to 5 hours a week.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I would be waking up early and also staying up really late certain times. Um, and yeah, it's obviously not sustainable. So, and now with through these years, working and putting this into place, I'm like I said, we're not obviously fully there yet, but I'm in a place now where yeah, it's yeah, like maybe 5 6 hours a week. And then but the work too, like a lot of the time is I've been doing more company design work and not the dirty work with my in the in animating in After Effects. I'm doing more of the how can we make this company run better. And it's still in the same field, which I love to do. And I still get to see all the creative work that comes in. I get to see it, and it's exciting to see other people's work and say, oh, that's really crazy. I wonder how we did that, or I would have done it like this. So there's still that part of me that gets the creative part still there. That's the fun part. But it's actually more fun to just sit back and not have the pressure of coming up with something. The creative work, you need to make sure that it looks great. You need to make sure people are loving it, and then there's pressure there. So having that pressure
So
off.
what difference has that made, would you say? Like, how has that
um,
affected your results, your revenue, to be able to take your time and attention and energy away from the actual animation, the actual, delivering the product to the client and moving more and more of your valuable resources, right? Your time, your energy, and your attention to redesigning the business, figuring out how do I get this business to accomplish these tasks? Because
yeah,
I can't. The
yeah,
business needs to get it done,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So what has that resulted in for you?
Just an overall feeling of overall feeling a weight lifted off your shoulders when things are running properly. Like, I mean, we have, we brought on a few like great animators that are really good, and as an artist, you want to make sure that your work is good, and that's the hard part, right? So having a good animator on the team is just like, okay, I can sleep easy now because I don't have to worry. Going up to the point of meeting this animator, you go through a lot of other animators who aren't, already there yet. And although they're good and they can get the job done, it's still like, oh man, I wouldn't have done it that way. I would have done, and some of them, the other animators we worked with before, I think they're not as good as this guy right now. But it's harder to be rest easy thinking that, okay, I'm assigning this job to you, but I don't know if it's going to come back the way I need it to come back. So you don't really sleep easy that way. You might think, okay, and then as expected, sometimes they'll come back and it's not what you need, it's not what you wanted, and then you're supposed to go present this to a client who you're trying to, who trusts you, and so I think where was I going with that? I think with the great team in place, it's a big weight off your shoulders, and you can sleep easy knowing that when this work gets submitted, it's going to be great, and you can feel confident and happy that you go back to your client and say, this is what we have, and they're like, oh, this looks great, I love it, amazing. And they always say, you should work with people that are smarter than you, and this guy that these people that we're working with, they're better doing better work than I would do. And it's but it's still coming. I feel it's good because my company's delivering the work, which is better than I could do, and the money's coming in. And it's obviously, you got to pay for it, but it's worth it to be able to make money and rest easy and be confident in what you're presenting to people. Because again, especially if you have clients that you've been working with for a long time, you don't want to all of a sudden come with something less than you came with before. So yeah, working with great. I think that was one thing that we had to get to, is learning how to working with great talent. It gets a big weight off your shoulder, and it's happy because you could spend time with your kids, you can spend time with your loved ones, you can do more things with your time at the same time. You didn't have to cut the business off and stop it. So things are continuing to go. They have a chance to grow bigger, but you now have more time, and it just feels like a weight off your shoulder. Just the pressure alone.
Yeah. So the pressure goes down a little bit. There's probably like a nice level of satisfaction to be able to deliver a great product, and realize that it's because you did the work to be able to choose and set up your team properly.
That's exactly
that's a big deal. Like how many, what do you think in terms of like the client load that you're able to do? How much do you think it's changed? How many more clients, or how much work are you guys getting done compared to before?
Yeah. So as freelancing, it would be maybe, I'd say maybe 3-4 projects, sometimes 2 if they're bigger projects, is would be our limit as far as overworking. I remember there was times when it was just me and one other person taking on these bigger jobs. It's Monday to Friday, you're working and you can't stop because there's going to be some revisions coming after this too. It was really no more room for, there's not much room for anything else. But the thing is, I would try not to say no to anything. So would load it on, try to figure it out. And that's where the staying up late, waking up early has to kick in.
And how many projects are you doing now?
Yeah. And so
at a time,
nowadays, I think the most we've done at a certain amount of time is maybe 15 projects. Yeah, 15. And there's, we have subcontractors. We have our 7 core guys. We also have subcontractors, but it's easier now because we have the people to manage the subcontractors, and they're the ones that speak to them, give them creative direction. And that's the part that I like, I guess, now that where I'm at now is more, it's becoming more of the norm where the great work is being done, and I can kind of I get to watch all of it and see, oversee everything still. But a lot of times I don't even say anything. It's just, I have that creative director to kind of guide the animators, who's amazing. And so as long as I guess you can trust your team, then your workload becomes easier.
So you went from around 2 to 4 projects, depending on the size, at a time for you and your one team member before, and now up to 14 with the rest of your team.
Yeah, 40, 50. And like I said, some of them, the great ones.
That's like tripled, more than tripled.
Yeah, exactly. And some of them, like I said, they happen and I don't even realize they're happening, but they're done. Sometimes they get completed and I'm like, oh, that one was the good one because I didn't even see it, but
wow.
So I like that. And
that is so good, man.
Yeah. And obviously the money, the income grew as well with that too. So
yeah, you don't have to give specific figures, but there's multiples in there.
Yeah,
there's we did that math. What was that? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I looked at the numbers after the year and I was like, wow, really? I didn't know it. I didn't realize that. And like I said, there's still work to be done.
Congratulations, man. You can see it's so interesting because you have achieved and unlocked such a huge level of success. I hope that when you re-listen to this, you realize, holy crap, how far you've come. And yet you constantly will frame it from, there's still a lot of work to be done. We're not there yet. Like, and I think that's something that we talk about in our sessions together as well.
Yeah.
But man, like part of what is so cool about these client spotlight interviews is to help you acknowledge just how
Right, right,
much
right.
you've done. Like
Oh yeah, that's
you've
true. Yeah.
more than 3x your capacity to take on clients.
Hmm.
You've more than 3x your team, right?
Hmm. Right.
You're working on way different, more interesting problems. Like 5 hours of your week is animating what you spent over a decade doing, and now the rest of it is redesigning the business. Is it's working on the people on the team.
Yeah.
You're utilizing leadership skills. Like that's
Yeah.
it's huge, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Totally.
so
And
freaking happy for you. I'm so freaking
yeah,
proud of you.
thank you. No, man, it's just I couldn't do without your direction and help. Like I mean, you've helped me so much as far as even from mindsets to even tangible ideas. It's that's I guess that's why part of the reason why we're here right now. And like you
Yeah.
said, I
Yeah.
think
Why are
it,
you
you
still here? People are
know,
going to be like, Junior's been working with Oliver for 4 years.
yeah, it's I think
Oh, yeah,
it's
I'm curious. What would you tell people? You're like, yeah, he's like, you're working with the same coach for 4 years. Wow.
yeah,
And man, it's an honor. Like it's
yeah.
really, really fun to work with
Oh,
you
thank you.
and see what you've been creating and the work, right, that you've been doing and producing.
Yeah,
And it's cool because you have it's artistry, right? It's production, it's visual. Like you can actually there's a different way of kind of experiencing the work that you do.
right.
So yeah, what would you say to people if they're like, it's like, man, like it's like, what's going on? Like you've been working
Yeah,
together for a long time.
yeah. I think the time is one thing, but I think it's everybody has a different timeline. I think, and but where I'm at now, I think I always it's just the constant you know reminder of the direction you're going in helps a lot. I'll say I mentioned this to Luella, my girlfriend, that she every time I speak to Oliver once a week. Every time I leave that meeting, I leave with something, and that's always it's always it can start my week off great, and if you have several great weeks in a row, it leads to big things. So the constant clarity and direction and focus and a little bit of it's like kind of like a bit of accountability partner too, right? So the constant reminder, the constant talks that happen on the regular basis, I think help end up leading to where you want to go. You know what I mean? Because there's nowhere else to go. Because I mean, if you're constantly talking about um, this goal, you new ideas come up every week, and it's just you're just working on it consistently. And obviously, persistence and how consistent you are with applying these things, it amounts to to reaching your goals. I think so.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
we've
one
gone
thing.
freaking deep.
Yeah, and
Like
it's
we've
not
gone
only just
deep in many ways.
exactly, yeah, and
And
it's
it's
not
been
even
a
just business.
reinvention.
It's more just even mindsets that help, the personal stuff that can get in the way of business, and vice versa. So it's just clarity on a lot of things, a lot of different levels, which I guess help you, remind you to, how you can work at your highest level, I think, you
Man,
know.
thank you. It's been such a beautiful journey to be a part of, and I'm always excited when we get to have our sessions together and see just how much you've accomplished, and then what that's created openings for or obstacles that are like going to be
Right.
just different and more interesting, higher level problems to work through.
Right.
Um, what would you say to the entrepreneur who's listening to this that might be where you were at, like, I've been doing this thing, it's going okay, I think I hit my max,
Mhm.
but I don't know what to do next, I don't know what direction, and maybe they're considering stepping into this work. What would you say to
Yeah,
them?
I think the main thing which that I tell to certain people is the difference between a freelancer and trying to run your company is that limit. And as a freelancer, some people are totally fine with that. But and if you're happy with that, if you're happy with that limit of that amount of say income, that amount of work, then that's fine. You can stay there. But the whole thing is that you can't. I don't think as a freelancer you can't really grow beyond that. But once if you do decide to take like a more of a business route and delegate more, um, the limits are taken off, and really, there's so much more you could do. You can just keep scaling up and doing bigger things, because you're not limited to just the hours you can put in. There's only a certain amount of hours in the day. And with as an entrepreneur and running a business, you have people delegating. So there's more people, it seems like since there's more people doing the work, it seems like you can get more out of the day than one person can. So I would say that if you want to grow, and if you do want to make more money, if you do want to do bigger things, freelancing can only bring you to that point. But like I said, if you want to grow bigger, the business can do so much more, do a lot bigger things, and bring you to bigger places. And yeah, there's no limit when it comes to that. The costs go up, but also more income comes in, the bigger things you can do. So, and I think there's also no limit to how much you can scale. You need more people, you hire more people, you can get more work with the more people, right? So, so I think my advice for an entrepreneur trying to think about switching is that the amount of stuff you can do, the scale of impact you can make is it takes the ceiling off of what you can do. You can grow, as big as you want when you get out of that just freelance kind of mindset.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, I think it's actually I think it's a more common issue, even just beyond freelancers, all kinds of solopreneurs.
Right.
And I think trying to get to that next level it's such a big step to take, and it's very difficult to do, especially when you're used to doing it completely on your own for so long, right? So to be able to step outside of that comfort zone and be able to let go of some of that control, like you have, I think it's created those opportunities to serve more, to accomplish more, and I think it's freaking awesome what you're doing, man. Tell us about what you are excited about. Tell us what you are working on right now, and tell us about how we can find you and follow your work.
Yeah. So right now we're working on a lot of television and film features, like a lot of documentaries and stuff. I think our main goal is that we want to try and start producing our own stuff. But right now we're working a lot of film and television. We're getting new clients coming in, asking for new stuff, and that's another new thing, is just getting the new clients. As a freelancer, you have a certain set of clients, but when you start to grow, you get more people, different and new clients trying to come in, and that's a learning experience too. So yeah, a lot of we have same type of clients, but a lot more. So we're working on a bunch of that, and that's kind of running. We're trying to get that to run more like clockwork and everything. That's the whole plan, is so everybody can work happily, with the least amount of stress, and it can run, and we can just take in more clients. So we're working with, I think maybe right now, currently maybe 9 different shows, and it's all kind of running. Well, not pure hassle-free, but it's all running on its own, like the machine's trying to run. And I'm excited about that. With that whole mindset of that, we can grow more. It's the stuff that's about to come, like the more we're thinking of maybe hitting up more US clients, more advertising clients, to bring in some bigger budgets. But now that I have time to work on that and focus on that, it's the opportunities, it's more there that I can give it some time. Because before, being stuck in animation and all that, you're stuck doing one thing, your head down and you're working. But now that I can work on other things with the business, like work on the business, it seems like the possibilities just got bigger. And yeah, even to this point, we haven't really had a chance to do any marketing. So now that I have a chance to maybe get into some of that and focus on that, I'm excited about that kind of growth, which is all kind of unknown. We don't really know what that's going to be yet, but it's exciting to think that we're literally about to try and start doing some more marketing and start pushing ourselves out there, because we haven't been doing any of that before.
Wow.
So,
Junior, man. Wow,
So,
what a journey that you've been on.
Yeah, I'm excited to let this thing grow and see.
It's so freaking cool to see. It's so
Yeah.
cool to see. Like you've gone from a place of doing all of the work as a freelancer, solopreneur,
Hmm.
And I think along the way that there's so many missed opportunities when you're so busy just trying to deliver all of the work and do the rest of the things as well.
Right.
And it's, for you to step into this process, to
Hmm.
come into that weekend workshop, to even set up a conversation with me, and to kind of step outside of your own comfort zone to get some outside perspective and support. Like it's
Yeah.
really, really beautiful what you've been able to create from all those
Definitely.
years, right? Like it's accumulated throughout
Exactly.
all that time to be able to get clear on
Yeah.
what you need to be working on, what is the highest value, for your
Hmm.
time, the highest ROI work that you could be doing and that you're missing out on if you're so busy doing this other work.
Hmm.
And I think that is the big contributing factor when it comes to your growth, right? The growth in your team, in your revenue, and how many client projects you're able to take on, like being able to
Yes.
open yourself up to new markets, even. That's been like, that's the freaking coolest thing to see.
Yeah, that's very true.
Excited for
Yeah.
you, man.
Like I was saying, the consistent mindsets, being reminded on where I'm going, it adds up. I think it adds up, and that's why you end up, I ended up where I am now, and we're still going. And it's just, yeah, it's just, I think it's just the persistence and the consistency of the stuff we talk about. It just keeps me aligned and it keeps me moving forward.
And what do you have to say for the person who's still like sitting on the fence thinking, is this the right time to work with Oliver?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say you never know until you try. And thing is, you can't lose. There's nothing to lose as far as you can only gain from getting more insight, more support, and more even knowledge and stuff like that. So I would say what I did, I was just kind of just jumped into it and see what happened. And I walk out every week, you know, with a clear mind and feeling good about things. Um, so it really helps as far as just having a consistent because a lot of times we fall off. It's easy to fall off. The train of thought you're trying to go on, a lot of distractions. But to be constantly reminded and of all these good things, it really takes a toll and in a good way. You know. So
Wow.
I would say if you're thinking about it, I would say you can just jump in and try. It doesn't hurt to try because you don't have to. You can if it's not what you need, then that you decide it then. But you never know what the possibilities are until you really hear what Oliver has to say, and it's honestly it's just great. It's great to hear your knowledge and your insight on everything, business to personal, just to feel your best you can be. So that's what I would think is the main benefit of that is just constant being my best self, really. you know and
Junior,
yeah.
it's so great to see you unlock your fullest self and to be able to explore your possibilities, right? I think
Yes. Yeah.
that's the thing that I fell in love with in the beginning. It's just like, man, this
Yeah.
guy can do some cool shit. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's gonna be so exciting. And oh my
Yeah.
God,
And
I appreciate you
you
so
know,
much. Thank you so much
you too,
for
Oliver.
being a part of this, for sharing your story, to sharing
Hmm.
what you've accomplished, what your challenges are, what your
Yeah.
thought process has been, and how it's evolved. And yeah, it's so inspired, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Oliver, man. Thanks for the interview. That was fun, man.